Hello and welcome to the WA Football Commission Metro North Bouncedown for modified coaches. Whether you're new to the role or you come with years of experience, today's session is designed to provide coaches with the information that they need for the upcoming 2024 season. This information is for the Metro North, which includes competitions in Claremont, Subiaco and West Perth District. The WA Football Commission has a number of staff members available in the Metro North to assist clubs. Our staff include Head of Competitions Brad Gardner, Coach Coordinator Baker Denneman, Competitions Team Leader Kathy Monk, Competitions Administrator Sandy Swift, and Amy Crane in a similar role, Participation Officers for the Claremont District, Alex Alberti, for the Subiaco District, Corey Dullard, and for the West Perth District, Mitch Gapanis. So the first thing we're going to look at is we're going to have to look into the coach's roles and the requirements of a coach. Each team is required to have a head coach to lead the team through trainings and game day experiences. Head coach is responsible for creating a fun and safe environment for all, being a positive role model to their players, and having clear focus on player development and welfare. Ultimately, what we're trying to get across as coaches is we want a player-centered approach. So everything we do in our coaching is based around the players and the playing group. So how do we develop them? How do we ensure that they're learning? How do we ensure that they're confident in their own game to ensure that they're having fun, but more importantly, playing the team sport that we all love? So all coaches must be accredited. The accreditation process is fairly simple and easy and can be done on coach.afl. So whether you're a new coach, you need to log on, create, do the onboarding form and basically become accredited and do the relevant modules to ensure that. If you're returning, you just need to re-accreditate yourself, ensure that everything is up to date and the modules are also up to date. So if you just follow the brief guideline here, head on to coach.afl, everything is free, and ultimately you need to be accredited before round one. Here's a brief slide on a little bit of a layout for new coaches, returning coaches, and ultimately how simple the platform is to use once you're on there. So feel free to do this as early as possible just to ensure that heading into round one everyone is prepared. The coach.afl gives you an access to an array of resources. So Rookie Me Coach is a fantastic one, and also the Junior Coach Curriculum. Rookie Me allows you to log on to Rookie Me platform as part of being accredited as a coach, gain access to drills, training structures, multiple ideas that you can instill for your sessions, and ultimately try and make your life easier as a coach when constructing what those sessions look like, but also keeping the kids engaged with new, fun and exciting activities. The Junior Coach Curriculum is obviously designed for players that are transitioning from Auskick to junior football, and also breaks it down in really simple form. Obviously the different levels are for the different age groups, and will give you a brief overview, similar to Rookie Me Coach, of what we're looking for in that space. Here's a brief overview of a training session structure. Obviously we understand that time is of the essence and we all live busy lives, and ultimately we want to make the training time that we do have with the playing group, the best hour and a half that they have throughout that day. So the ability to break it down so you have flow, but more importantly as a coach you have an understanding of where your session starts to where it's ending, and your ability to pass this on to the playing groups will instill confidence in them because they know that you're prepared and willing to invest time and effort into the group. As part of my role at the WAFC as coach coordinator, obviously we have the ability to come out and assist your clubs with some coach workshops. So whether this is me working in conjunction with coach coordinators at your football club, or ultimately you going to your coach coordinator and asking for assistance, we would be in touch about specific things that we may be able to do, but from my end, happy to do a broad range of things. So whether it's game day coaching, coming out and talking about tackling and physical presence, what's an effective training look like? How do we continue to make them fun and engaging? And then the training attendance side of things is more so as a coach coordinator, just coming out and viewing a training session, giving you a hand when need be, and then giving you some really good feedback. So feel free to be in contact with myself, Metro North Coach Coordinator Baker, if need be. I'm going to touch on the teaching tackling part. Obviously, at the moment within the game, the new protocols that are coming in, really important to ensure that we are educating a lot on this piece, educating the right way, and ultimately just making sure that players are confident and understand the rules, as do we as coaches. So tackling in year 3 and 4 consists of a modified wrap tackle and under no circumstances go to ground. Tackling for year 5 and 6 consists of a modified wrap tackle which can in correct circumstances go to ground, stealing, bumping, smothering or shepherding within 5 metres of the ball only. So as coaches we need to be really aware of these rules and make sure that we are teaching these as well. Just got some tackling technique videos for you that I will play here.
Here's an example of a front-on tackle. You'll see the tackler watching the player with the ball. As the player will move, the tackler will look to get alignment with the inside shoulder and then get her head in position to protect herself. We'll see again, we pause, she's driving her legs in, protecting her head to the side, forcing the player into her chest and wrapping the player up. As you can see, there's no twist, lift, and then dump.
Moving on to the similar sort of thing, let the coaches talk through this angle.
This example shows the tackler taking short steps to get nice and close to her opponent. Then we focus on shoulder alignment. The tackler wants to get her inside shoulder in line with the ball carrier's inside shoulder. Here she does this correctly. She also gets low and protects her head by putting her ear to the rear. This is making sure your head is behind the person you are tackling so you don't give yourself an injury. This slow motion clip shows the tackler getting her feet nice and close, good shoulder alignment and driving her legs through the tackle.
Just some vital resources to use in terms of coaching links. So Coach.afl, probably the most important one here. Okay, there's a really good network of resources that you can use, obviously where you do your accreditation as well. So continue to upskill yourself through that platform and ensure that we're ready to go for the start of the season. Obviously the Coach AFL Facebook page, Coach AFL network, and also the community coaching positions and jobs page as well.
And regulations. Each year, the WA Football Commission releases a document that contains all the rules, regulations and policies that govern our competitions. This document can be found on the WA Football website. This document is an essential item for all coaches, and you should keep a document in an easy to find location so you're able to answer any questions from players, parents, volunteers or your team managers. The Rules and Regulations document outlines a number of policies, many of which you should familiarise yourself with prior to the season beginning, so that you can confidently answer questions like, do we still play when there's thunder and lightning? What happens if someone is vilified on the field? What happens if someone makes inappropriate comments or is bullied on social media? Or can I play for another team within my club in the same age group? Whilst we won't go through every policy today in its entirety, we will cover some elements, but recommend you take the time to read through each of them prior to round 1. One of the most important parts of the Rules and Regulations document is a section on the spirit of junior football. This section outlines that every participant needs to understand that junior football in Western Australia is delivered to the community with the spirit of the game in mind. The spirit of junior football is designed to maximise the enjoyment and development of junior footballers by providing our children with a game environment that is safe, fun and fair. We ensure the spirit of junior football is obtained by upholding, promoting and protecting the rules and regulations, the laws of the game, the codes of conduct and the spirit of the game. Above all, everybody involved in junior football must not engage in conduct which is unbecoming or likely to prejudice the interest or reputation of junior football or bring the game of football into disrepute. Encompassing the spirit of junior football is our equal opportunity policy. Under this policy, coaches are required to ensure all players, regardless of their age, size, gender, ability, or the competition they are playing in, are given an equal opportunity to play in a variety of positions on the field. All players must also play at least 60% of a game each week. This is important in allowing players to gain experience and learn and develop the skills of each position. Adhering to this policy and its intent ensures all players and parents feel they are getting a fair go and are part of the team, enhancing overall participation in junior football. This part of the Equal Opportunity Policy is monitored by teams utilising a player rotation app. Each week teams will need to assign a volunteer to operate the interchange app that records when players are on the field and when they are on the bench. The interchange volunteer cannot be undertaken by another role on the day, such as runner or team manager, or first aider or the coach. However, it may take on the role as an assistant coach, but they would need to wear the interchange vest. Each year we receive numerous queries regarding the rules surrounding players' eligibility and moving within teams. Please be aware that the following applies. Players may only play for one team in their correct age group. Players are permitted to play up into a higher age group as long as it is by no more than 1 year. This means a Year 4 player can play up into a Year 5 team, but not a Year 6 team. For our split age group competitions, this means a Year 4 player can play up into a Year 5-6 team, but a Year 3 player is not permitted to do so. If playing up, players can play for more than one team in the older age group. This has changed from previous seasons and allows more flexibility for clubs and teams. Remember that players may only play up on a temporary basis, a maximum of 4 times. Once they play a 5th game for the older age group, they must remain with that team for the remainder of the season and are able to return to their correct age group until the following year. If a player is going to move up to an older age group, the club registrar must submit a request prior to the 5th game being played, nominating which team the player will stay in for the remainder of the season. It is extremely important to note that Auskickers are not permitted to play in junior football. This means Year 2 and below cannot play up into a Year 3 or above team. Please ensure players, parents and coaches are aware of these rules, as penalty may apply for breaches of the player eligibility rules. Another important game day policy is the even up policy. This policy outlines that teams playing one another must be even on the fields at all times. This is achieved by sending players from one team to play for the opposition. It is important to note that you only have to even up on the field. You do not need to provide players so the opposition has a bench. Players that are sent to the opposition to play must be swapped each quarter and must give their full effort while playing. Players seen to not be giving their full effort whilst playing for the opposition can be awarded a yellow card. Players sent to the opposition are to either turn their jumpers inside out or wear a spare jumper provided by the opposition. It is important to note that the even up rule is in place at all times. This means if you are not currently in an even up situation, but the opposition team has no bench and one of their players leaves the field due to an injury, your team must immediately remove a player to ensure the teams are even on the field. The player removed should be the closest player to the interchange area to ensure teams are evened up as quickly as possible. The only exemption to the even up rule is when the opposition is awarded a yellow or red card and has no player on the bench to replace them in the yellow card situation. In this scenario, you are not required to send an additional player to play for the opposition. It is also important to familiarise yourself with the mercy rule. As outlined in the spirit of junior football, it is important not to focus on winning at all costs. If it is clear that one team is dominating another during a game, both teams should work together to equalise teams however possible. This may mean adjusting player positions on the field, asking players to only kick on their non-dominant foot, or asking your defenders to simply punch the ball in a contest rather than marking the ball. These simple changes to a gameplay should be explained to players as a way to increase player development and ensure the game is enjoyable for all players on both teams. Coaches do not need to wait until the margin is 60 plus points to implement this policy. The earlier the implementation makes a better game for all players. Please refer to WAFC Match and Ground Operations Section 51, the Mercy Rule Policy, for more information. Fortunately, there are times within our game where players can be injured and a stretcher is needed. When a player is injured, it can be a stressful time, so by understanding the policy, you can help keep your players and families remain calm. Most importantly, when a player is injured, only authorised persons are permitted to enter the field of play to assist the player. This means only the first aider, runner, or players already on the field can approach the injured player. We understand it can be difficult for families watching, but please ensure that they know they are not able to just run on the field to assist their child. As we have seen in past incidents across junior football, whilst the parent's intention may be to approach their child and offer assistance, parents from the opposition team may believe their child has now been approached by an adult and then also enter the field. This can result in an escalation and potentially volatile situation. For this reason, there are heavy penalties for unauthorised adults entering the field of play, and they range from 4 weeks to 16 weeks match bans. So please ensure your parents know not to enter the field of play while the game is still in progression. If a player is removed from the field of play by a stretcher, then they are not able to take any further part in the game. If a player is assisted from the field in any other way, such as being chairlifted or supported off, it's important to note that they are not considered to have been stretchered off and may return to play, but only if the first aider clears them to return. Rule refreshers. The rules of our game are ever evolving, and back in 2022, junior community football adopted the same rules as per the AFL with some modifications. These rules will continue in season 2024. Water runners are not permitted in season 2024, and players need to bring their own water bottles. Please encourage good hydration before and after the game, as well as during breaks and interchange during the game. If your team does not have a bench, players can approach the boundary without leaving the field to have a quick drink, grabbing their water bottle from their parents. Concussion protocols. All clubs and teams must treat concussion and head injuries with the utmost importance to ensure player well-being. Any player who suffers a head knock at a match should be immediately removed from the field and assessed for signs of concussion by using the free head check app. A reminder that the first aider has the final say as to whether a player can return to the field and should not be pressured into allowing the player to return to the game. When in doubt, please sit them out. Any suspected concussions must be reported to the WA Football Commission by your club. All players with suspected concussions must seek an urgent medical assessment with a registered doctor. Once a concussion has been confirmed, the player and family should be made aware of the WAFC's concussion policy and the mandated 21-day graded loading program, as outlined by the WAFC. Please remember that the 21 days is not a standard wait and play. It is the minimum requirement, and all concussions should be treated as unique and assessed independently. Any player with a history of concussion or reoccurrence of symptoms should have a more conservative approach adopted. Returning to play after concussion. For players with multiple concussions in a season, if a player receives a second concussion in a season, then the player must be assessed by a doctor or medical practitioner who specialises in concussion management and must be medically cleared by them in order to return to training or play. The WAC can assist clubs and families in identifying doctors who specialise in the field of concussion. If a player receives a third concussion within a season, combined across any competition, and that could be club, school, training, AFL 9s, etc., then it is highly recommended by the WAC that the player does not play for the remainder of the season and should continue to be assessed and monitored by a medical specialist in concussion management. Season 2024. Once you have registered on Coach AFL, your club will be able to provide you with access to your team via the Play HQ platform. Please log into your account at playhq.com to access your fixtures and squad. Each week, your team manager will be required to organise a number of volunteers who help ensure the match runs smoothly. These volunteers are identified by wearing game day vests. In 2022, some of these vest colours changed and are being phased in over a 3-year period, so both colours will be allowed in the 2024 season. The new interchange vest has been introduced for the 2024 season, and this has been rolled out over a 2-year period. All coaches must wear the dark blue vest. Please note there are no assistant coaches in Year 3s to 6s, however they can take the role of interchange steward to monitor player rotations. Game times. Game times across Metro North will be standardised to assist umpires to be allocated to games more closely correlated to their skill level and assist clubs for play-ups in case of low team numbers. Friday nights are predominantly fixtured with our female competitions, with the younger age groups playing in the earlier time slot and older teams in the later time slot. Sundays are predominantly fixtured with our mixed and male competitions, again with the younger age groups playing in the early time slots and older ages in the later time slots. Year 3-4 females and 5-6 female competitions may also be fixtured to play predominantly on Sunday mornings. Whilst the competition team will endeavour to fixture games within these standard time slots, there will be times where games are played outside of these times. This may be due to oval or umpire availability, or it may be because your club has requested a change in playing day or time for a special event. If for any reason your team is unavailable to play a certain fixture, please let your club and registrar know as soon as possible. Runners must be 18 years or older. This is because, as well as delivering messages from the coach, the runner's purpose is to de-escalate any on-field tension from their players and potentially remove players if required. In these situations, emotional maturity is required. Team numbers in modified ages allow for an unlimited number of players on the bench, and it's 12 aside for Year 3 and Year 3-4 females, and 15 aside for Year 4 to Year 6. Year 3s and Year 3-4 coaches are not permitted on the field in season 2024, and runners are being reintroduced for this age group. Supporting our umpires. Umpires play a key role in the successful delivery of community football. All team players, officials, parents and spectators are expected to adhere to a zero-tolerance stance against any form of umpire or official abuse, verbal dissent, intimidation or disputing of decisions. Just like players, our umpires are also learning and need our full support. Only the team manager may approach the umpires during the breaks in the matches. They may not question decisions, interpretations or question the free kick count. By supporting our umpires, you play a vital role in developing the highest quality of umpires. As part of supporting our umpires is the handshake policy. Coaches are expected to shake the hands of the match day umpires both pre and post game. This mark of respect helps reinforce our commitment to influencing positive game day environments and is a visual example of behaviour from the coach to the players and spectators. Coaches should also shake hands with their opposition coach both pre and post game. Parent Umpire program is designed to educate parents new to junior football. The Parent Umpire program can also help reduce game day environmental issues. The Parent Umpire program will be running across all districts in the Year 3 competitions, Year 4 competitions and the Year 3-4 female competitions. Please speak to your club registrar should you have any queries. Each team, Year 3, Year 4 and 3-4 females, is required to provide one parent umpire for every game. The qualified parent umpire from both teams umpire the games together for the entirety of the game. The WFC recommends having multiple volunteers qualified as parent umpires. However, if you find you do not have a parent umpire for a game, your team manager will need to speak to your club registrar who will provide assistance. Should you be unable to provide a parent umpire, as the coach you may umpire as a last resort. In these situations you must remain impartial and are not permitted to coach the team for the entirety of the game. If you have any feedback for umpires, this should be given to your club president or registrar who will pass the information on to the relevant district umpire managers and the WFC umpiring team. Remember that all umpires are still learning, so only constructive and non-emotional feedback will be accepted. Season information. If you have not already been advised, round 1 will begin on the weekend of the 26th of April to 28th of April. We will have bye rounds over the June long weekend and July school holidays. Round 14 will be the last round of ordinary fixtures as modified age groups do not participate in finals. We hope to have the first 5 rounds of fixtures available as close to the 17th of April as possible, while the remaining fixtures will be released in early June. If your team is unavailable for a fixtured game, please contact your registrar to request a fixture change. Please note that there is no forfeits in modified football. If you have less players available, we still encourage you to participate in the game and utilise the even up rule so all players have the opportunity to play a game that round. This season we will have the following special rounds acknowledged. Round 3 is Umpire Appreciation Round, where we acknowledge the vital role umpires play in our game. Round 8 is Socket to Sarcoma Round, where we raise awareness and much needed funds for an important cause by wearing odd socks and donating gold coins. Round 9 and Round 10 is our NAIDOC District Dreaming Rounds. It is a celebration of Indigenous culture and acknowledgement of the contributions from both Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders Australians to our great game. And round 12 is our Thank a Volunteer round, where we celebrate all the volunteers who contribute to our kids being able to play the game they love. Match duration for modified age competitions are 15-minute quarters for all ages. All age groups also have the same length of breaks for break times, with 3 minutes for each quarter, 8 minutes for half time and 3 minutes for three-quarter time. Please do your best to adhere to these times to ensure games later than yours are not delayed. Game day procedures. During the game, it's important to note that the coach's box is only for those volunteers participating in the game. Additionally, players who are not playing in the game should not be sitting in the coach's box. They can sit right behind it or next to it. The interchange area is a space available for your interchange steward and timekeeper or scorer. Please note that the interchange steward is able to leave their area and approach the coach's box to provide updates to you on player rotations. As a coach, you should lead by example and display positive game day behaviours in the box for all volunteers, players and spectators to follow. If there are any game day issues, a conflict resolution is available to be used which effectively escalates match day disputes. Please report any incidents of poor behaviour or sportsmanship to your club. Your club president will then make contact with the opposition club president and attempt to resolve the dispute. If and when needed, the WAC competitions team will then be notified of the incident and any resolution achieved. Thank you for participating in today's Modified Coach Bouncedown. Should you have any further queries, please contact your club coaches coordinator in the first instance or your club president. We thank you for volunteering to take on an essential role of coach for season 2024. We wish you a fun, safe and enjoyable season of football. Please remain open as you are redirected to an assessment. Thank you.